So good to see you, man. Yeah.
Good to see you.
Have a seat. So maybe for some people here, it would be good to start off with, what is the Brandtech Group? You and I have talked over the years, many years, about the shortcomings of the ad holding company model and how technology's influence was changing things so fast and their business models were stuck in the past and you needed a better solution. You actually went out and did something about it. But for this audience, make sure they understand, what is Brandtech Group? Originally, you and Mr. Jones, better name. What are they, and what's their sort of position in the ecosystem?
So I'll give you the soundbite answer and the slightly longer one. The soundbite answer is that when Sam Altman said that 95% of what agencies and marketing does in the future will be done by technology, we're like, yeah, that's why we created the company. The longer version is, I kind of launched the company in 2015 out of a belief that you could do all marketing better, faster, and cheaper using technology, and wanting to be the best in the world at helping big brands connect content, data, and media. And so we sort of said, we'll never buy ad agencies, we'll never buy media agencies. There's a huge industry that does that very well.
Right.
It's super competitive, it's not growing very fast, and the markets don't view it as very valuable. But what we'll do is we'll put together end-to-end tech and tech-enabled businesses and work with the world's biggest brands to help them do their marketing better, faster, cheaper. So we bought Oliver, the #1 in in-housing globally, bought collectively one of the world's top 3 influencer marketing businesses. We bought Acorn, one of the fastest growing e-commerce platforms, et cetera, et cetera. And then the last thing we did a couple of years ago is we acquired Pencil, who are, I would say, the only company that has a genuine in-market, end-to-end Gen AI marketing platform. Have made 1 million ads using Gen AI since 2018, spent $1 billion across 5,000 brands.
So these are real technology businesses, not sort of, hand-waving, saying technology and actually being a manual agency business.
Yeah, I mean, you have both. So you have, we don't have the second bit, but you have, Pencil is a SaaS platform, Acorn's a SaaS platform, but we also have tech-enabled. So our influencer business collectively, our video content business, MoFilm, they're creator economy companies with a tech platform that connects into content creators. Oliver go in and build in-house studios and increasingly in-house Gen AI content studios for some of the world's biggest brands. Today we work with 8 of the world's top 10 global advertisers, 49 of the top 100, and it's going quite well so far.
So historically, the agencies and technology have been like oil and water. They really don't understand technology. Did you have to construct a different team or certainly a different approach so that you could make investments and make acquisitions of these tech businesses and tech-enabled businesses and manage it in a way that where you understood the technology as opposed to try to retrofit it into a services business?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the name Brandtech came exactly from that. I was talking to my clients and they're saying, look, David, it's all changed, we need help. The agencies are great at brand and advertising, but don't really get technology. The tech platforms have an amazing tech platform, but funnily enough, they'll only ever recommend their tech platform, and they don't have the same expertise in the brand piece, and we need someone who gets brand and tech, and that was hence putting brand and tech together and calling it Brandtech. And then just setting out, building a group where, as I said, we kind of won't do 85%, like pretty much on every major client we work with. They need an ad agency. That's still an important role, but that's not the bit that we wanted to do.
So are you agency of record for these?
We're typically, like, for example, take Unilever. We're the largest global digital content partner for Unilever. We work on 375 brands globally across 12 different content disciplines, but we're not doing like the TV advertising or the big brand idea. We're doing all of the always-on digital content, social content, e-commerce content, influencer marketing, etc.
Gotcha. So
and increasingly, Gen AI.
You're zigging, whereas the regular holding companies are still in that sort of traditional business. Are you avoiding that altogether, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it may come in our direction because as we're seeing all of the kind of text-to-video tools and things like that, it may actually be that one day we will make TV commercials.
Right.
But to date we haven't. And it kind of came out. There's a best-selling Harvard Business School case study, which is called "Have Us Change Faster," and it tells the story of how I failed to change Have Us faster. I could see back then that the creator economy was going to be a big thing. Bought a company called Victors and Spoils, tried to use it to drive massive change in a big traditional holding company. And despite the fact that clients wanted it and my investors were fully on board, the kind of body rejected the implant. And it just taught me it will be much easier to build this from scratch than it will be to change something that exists.
Right. How would you gauge the track record, though, of agency holding companies as it relates to, call it, data and or technology businesses? It would seem that of late, a company like Publicis has actually done a pretty decent job, maybe by not integrating, maybe by leaving some of their acquisitions alone. But how would you sort of give a scorecard across the agency holding groups?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Publicis is doing really well, and by far the best of the pack. That said, I think we look at the kind of industry with quite a simplistic narrative, which is that they were doing really well. COVID came, they did badly, they're doing really well again. In reality, the majority of them, I mean, WPP didn't grow from 2016, Publicis declined 2019 and 2020.
Yep.
And then COVID forced them to make major changes to their business models that they probably wouldn't have done had it not happened. And that's actually, you've seen the positive impact of that. Obviously, there's kind of two camps going on at the moment.
Right.
But I think it's very hard to see how having 125,000 people in a world of Gen AI is going to play out well. And I think it's all relative. I mean, you know, we've grown on average organically every year 25%. So
right.
we would view some of their performances, even though they're good in that category, we'd be cataclysmically disappointed.
Right, right. Do you see them eventually looking more like a Brandtech Group, or do you think there's so much inertia in their FTE model that it's just going to be impossible for them to change stripes?
I mean, I think you guys talk about this every year at LUMA. Like, there's an entire new industry that didn't exist 20 years ago, which is all the digital and social platforms. And I think it will just be another iteration of this. They will become less relevant and less important in general. We'll see.
Yep.
I think the extent to which generative AI is going to change all marketing and business and the world beyond belief,
right.
I think we can't quite comprehend. There were two great things I saw over the weekend. There was Eric Schmidt saying that it's not overhyped, it's underhyped. And then obviously Elon Musk saying that in the future, only 1% of the intelligence on the planet will be biological. But whether you think those two things are a little bit exaggerated, the fact that people can say stuff like that and we don't all laugh kind of, I think, underscores just how big this change is going to be.
I think we think it's going to be huge, and your Pencil acquisition was maybe the first. Are we likely to see you do more moves into AI to develop that technology as it pervades across marketing?
Yeah, I mean, we started in 2015. We invested in a company that built AI chatbots. Actually, in 2016, we did the world's first influencer AI chatbot for Kalani Hilliker and CoverGirl. We did AI media planning. We did AI data. In 2018, we invested in AI Foundation. I went on the board, and they built Digital Deepak. And there's a great episode of Deepak Chopra's Mind Twin on Jimmy Kimmel that you can go and look at. In reality, the demo looks fantastic, but as soon as you took the app and said, "Hey, Deepak, where'd you go on holiday?" the AI back then wasn't quite good enough.
Right.
And then Pencil. So we've been investing in the space. Literally since day one. AI and machine-generated content were a founding vertical. One of our biggest investors actually kind of publicly said that in a podcast we did recently, that we and NVIDIA were the two people who talked to them first about AI. So quite pleased to be in that company, despite the fact that our valuation isn't quite where theirs is. So you will see us do more. The thing was, the only company we could find in the world that was using Gen AI end-to-end to make advertising content was Pencil. There wasn't anyone else, and hence we kind of managed to persuade Will and team to join us. But yeah, I mean, I think there's great areas like insights, data. I mean, we're going to make a number of moves over the coming years.
Talk about practical applications, because in media and marketing, too many people talk about AI at the very high level without really talking about use cases, like pragmatic, in-market use cases for clients. So, like, what are the kind of things you're doing at Pencil, and what are the things you anticipate doing?
So, looking at Pencil, literally, it aggregates all the best models, so ChatGPT, Gemini, Stability. It plugs into the Getty database, so you can basically decide what it is that you actually want to use in terms of the models. It plugs directly into the ad accounts, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and you arrive on the platform, and it says, what do you want to do? Do you want, an insight, a pack shot, a TikTok video, an Instagram post, a YouTube video, and then it literally just creates the content instantly for you. Yep. It's set up so that it's brand safe. You own the copyright. We have prompt logs on everything, so if anything goes wrong, you know who it was. There's one set of terms that clients sign and can work with. And we've seen across the billion-dollar data set that on average we can create content 10 times faster.
Yep.
We get 2x the performance, and it's 50% cheaper. And we're literally, half of our top clients are now using it: Unilever, Diageo, Danone, L'Oreal, et cetera, et cetera. And what we're seeing, particularly when it comes to performance content, we're seeing 161% improvement in ROAS on TikTok and Instagram. So what's amazing about it, it's not that we always have good demos because it's great,
right,
and the pilots are usually interesting, but it's in-market results that are really delivering. That's Pencil. I know we have another company that's just created the #1 most effective TV commercial in the UK in the chocolate category for Hotel Chocolat, all using generative AI. We have Acorn, who are using AI to help drive down returns. So, I mean, I think the thing that, that none of us have fully understood yet is like every single thing we do, you can do better, faster, and cheaper using generative AI. We did a thing where we built a brand end-to-end in 59 minutes. Everything from the business plan to the press release, to the e-commerce store, to the logo, to the name. We ran research groups by creating personas within ChatGPT. So I think, at the moment, 100% of the headlines are all about generative AI, and 1% of actual content in today's world is made using it. But I have never seen an adoption so fast, and often it's the global CEO of these companies who wants the demo.
Right.
It's not like, go see my marketing person. Like we're doing
No.
one-on-one demos of the global CEOs. I need to understand this.
Yep. Because I'm pretty sure the CEOs of every company of your clients is telling their CMO, what are we doing in this category? We need to be...
Exactly, 100%. Yeah.
So this morning we talked about, one of the things I like about this generative AI trend that we're in is it really addresses the creative, which I think has been overlooked relative to media and data in this industry. We've sort of done ad nauseum investments and deal activity in media and data to optimize better efficiency, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the cheaper part, but that's the third. I noticed it was better, faster, cheaper. And the creative is really what gets to better. We just heard from Patrick Harris from Snap talking about, how they're talking about creative and how it's driving effectiveness. We heard that from Meta this morning, that their AI tools are very focused on creative. Same thing at Google with their AI platforms. So it feels like there is this sort of renewed focus on creative to drive the single most important aspect of whether an ad works or not, and driving ROAS, which is, did it work? And so it's refreshing to hear you say that, and of course, better is the first word in the three. So that
no, and just to that point, I mean, I think it's everyone's going, oh my God, this is going to replace creative people. I mean, the reason Pencil's called Pencil is a tool for creative people to use. But I think we're going to see the greatest creative revolution in history. I think if you think about the mobile phone, it basically made everyone a creator. So there are now 60 million people who make money as creators, and roughly the same amount of people still working in the ad industry. So if the mobile phone made everyone a creator, Gen AI makes everyone an ad agency. The quality of work that you're able to produce is amazing. And then I think the other thing when it specifically comes to ad tech is, ad tech committed some of the most heinous crimes. Like, oh, we can follow that person around the internet for the next week with a pair of sneakers they bought last week.
Right.
It's like, A, that's a dumb use of money, and B, it's really annoying. I think the ability to get into hyper-personalization to content that's unbelievably relevant, to have every single person in this room seeing messaging from brands that either interested in or would be interested in, but actually is highly creative and engaging. So I know I'm an optimist, but I think there is an opportunity for the industry to actually stop annoying people, because it's not a good way of getting people to buy product, and actually raise the bar.
And how democratized do you believe that technology will be? We talked about AI this morning, all these powerful big companies investing hundreds of billions of dollars are really going to be like utilities. Everyone's going to have access to it. So do you think that democratizes the ability to leverage those powerful tools for this kind of revolution you're talking about?
Yeah, completely. I mean, and in particular, going back to the point, 60 million creators in the world. I mean, influencers weren't a thing,
Right.
We bought an influencer business back in 2015, 16, and people didn't really know what they were back then. And now, you stop any 14-year-old in the street and say, who are the 10 people you're most in admiration of? It's all influencers. And that's been done with, if you think about it simplistically, the TV era was high quality, high cost.
Yep.
The mobile era or the social era has been low quality, low cost.
Yep.
And this is going to be high quality, low
quality,
cost.
low cost.
You're going to have amazing content production capabilities. And even just the ability to do stuff. I mean, one of our companies is just playing around with voice, and we'll now do 100 different voiceover on videos that you couldn't have done in the old world, because it just wouldn't have made sense. Mm-hmm. And it's often seeing 120% uplift in performance just by changing a voice. And if you look at tools like 11 now, you can do voice to voice. So in the old model, it was obvious that it was an AI voice because it was text to voice. Now you can get intonation in there.
Right.
And so it's, things like that like are a tiny use case, but are actually remarkably effective.
Right. Well, you may not have the valuation of a large tech platform, but you have a robust valuation. I noted a journal article that pegged your latest round at $4 billion. That's, I mean, you told me a little bit about your revenues. That's a big multiple. That's approaching tech multiples, not media multiples, and certainly not agency multiples. What warrants investors to line up at those kind of valuations? Is it this new approach, and you've sold them that this is going to be the future? And
look, I mean, I think, most of our big investors have followed us along the journey, and they've actually seen that when I turned up with a PowerPoint and said, "Give me some money, it'll be fine." It's actually, we built what is today the world's largest digital-only content company, and I think the reason that everyone's so excited about where we are is there is an enormous amount of vaporware when it comes to Gen AI. Everyone is announcing a partnership, and I was doing a talk on Monday, and it's really simple. When someone tells you about their amazing Gen AI tool, just say to them, "Can I have a login, and can I make ads, and can I publish them now?" And if they say no, it's bullshit.
Right.
And you can, anyone can go get a pencil login, make a whole bunch of ads, and put them out there. And I think we have, honestly, the only proven in-market product, and we're seeing that with our clients, because everyone's saying, look, we can't, no one else has got a product. They can't talk to us about what it's going to be priced, and we've got legal and procurement approvals across all of our biggest clients. And I think our investors look at it and go, we think Gen AI is going to be huge in marketing and advertising, and if these guys can kind of continue to lead, that will be a very valuable company. I mean, hopefully 4 billion will be a rounding error. A
rounding error. So last year you did a merger with Jellyfish.
Acquisition
of Jellyfish. What's on the horizon? Might we see more deals, more acquisitions? Are we going to see a public listing at some point?
So look, I think we've now built everything we need. We've got in-house, plugs into Pencil platform, plugs into Creator Economy to the power of AI, all underpinned by data. Yes, I'm sure we'll do more acquisitions, but we don't need to, which is a good place to be. I think I like being private. It's much nicer. I've run a public listed company for 4 years, and all the good and bad that goes with that. And I think, someone is going to build in marketing what Salesforce built in sales. There will be, like the Gen AI market leader, the #1 Gen AI marketing company in the world, will be worth more than 100 billion. And, we've got a long way to go, but we're super ambitious, and that's the kind of the end game.
Well, I love that kind of optimism, and I love setting high bars. That's certainly a high one, but it looks like a great trajectory so far. David Jones, thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. Good to see you.